I, 48M, am a father of two children, Emily, 24F, and Jack, 19M. I need to provide some background about our family to explain how we got here. I met my wife Maria during our second year of college in 1995. She studied business administration while I focused on engineering. Maria came from a middle-class family that owned a small retail store, which sparked her interest in business from an early age. After graduation, I started working in construction management while Maria pursued her dream of starting a jewelry business. She began by making custom pieces in our small apartment and selling them online. Within 3 years, her business grew enough to open a small storefront. She had an incredible talent for both designing jewelry and managing the business side of things. We got married in 1999 when I was 26 and she was 24. By then, her jewelry business had 5 employees and was making good money. We bought our first house in a nice neighborhood with good schools, planning ahead for the family we wanted to have. Emily was born in 2000, and Jack followed in 2005. Maria was the kind of mother who balanced work and family perfectly. She involved Emily in the jewelry business from a young age, letting her arrange displays in the store and later teaching her basic bookkeeping. Even at age 8, Emily would sit at Maria's desk pretending to run the business. Jack was different. He took after me and preferred sports and outdoor activities. Our life changed completely in 2012 when Maria was diagnosed with aggressive breast cancer. She fought hard through chemotherapy and radiation, but the cancer had spread too far. During her final months, she focused on securing our children's future. She sold her jewelry business for a good price and combined that money with her life insurance policy to create trust funds for both kids. Each trust fund contained approximately $300,000, with the agreement that they would get access at age 25. Maria set up specific terms about how the money could be used before then, only for education, medical emergencies, or housing needs. She appointed me as the trustee but made her wishes clear about preserving the money for the kids' futures. After Maria passed away, I dedicated myself to giving our children the best life possible. I worked extra hours as a construction project manager to maintain our lifestyle. We stayed in the same house to keep the kids in their schools and near their friends. I made sure to keep Maria's memory alive by telling stories about her business success and determination. Emily excelled in school, particularly in computer science and programming. She inherited her mother's entrepreneurial spirit and started developing apps in high school. She got a scholarship to study computer engineering in college and graduated with honors in 2022. She now works as a software engineer but has always planned to start her own tech company once she got access to her trust fund. Jack is currently in his second year of college, studying business administration. He's more laid back than his sister but still responsible and focused on his goals. He works part-time at the university's athletic department to earn extra money for expenses. 3 months ago, during a routine physical, my doctor found something concerning. After multiple tests and biopsies, I was diagnosed with a rare form of pancreatic cancer. The standard treatments wouldn't work for my type of cancer due to its location and specific genetic markers. My oncologist recommended an experimental treatment available at a specialized clinic in another state. The total cost for the treatment would be around $300,000. My insurance would only cover $50,000 because it's considered experimental. I spent weeks trying to find ways to pay for it. I applied for every medical loan possible but got rejected because of the experimental nature of the treatment. I started a GoFundMe that raised $20,000. I even reached out to Maria's family, but they couldn't help with such a large amount. I sold my car and took out a second mortgage on the house, which gave me another $30,000. The doctors said I needed to start treatment within 2 months for the best chance of survival. After 6 weeks of trying everything possible, I still needed $200,000. That's when I started thinking about Emily's trust fund. As the trustee, I had access to the accounts. I kept telling myself that Maria would understand, that she wouldn't want our children to lose both parents to cancer. After another week of internal debate, I made the decision to withdraw $250,000 from Emily's trust fund, leaving $50,000 in it. Emily discovered what I'd done last week when she tried to check her trust fund balance online. She called me immediately. Through tears, she explained how she had been working on a business plan for 2 years, had potential investors lined up, and was counting on the trust fund money as her main capital. She said I had stolen not just her money, but her mother's legacy and her dreams. Jack found out through Emily and immediately sided with his sister. He said I should have at least discussed it with them before taking the money. He reminded me how many times I had lectured them about honesty and trust while growing up. The family is divided over my decision. My siblings support me, saying a father's life is more important than money that Emily wasn't supposed to access for another year anyway. Maria's family is furious, saying I betrayed their sister's final wishes for our children. My parents are torn, understanding my desperate situation but disappointed that I didn't try harder to find other solutions. Emily is now threatening legal action to recover the money. She said she'll hire a lawyer who specializes in trust fund cases. I started my treatment last week, but the cost of saving my life might be losing my relationship with my daughter forever. Update 1: Things have gotten significantly worse since my last post. Emily wasn't making empty threats about legal action. She hired a lawyer who specializes in trust fund cases, and I received a formal letter demanding immediate repayment of the funds. The letter detailed potential criminal charges for breach of fiduciary duty if I don't return the money within 30 days. But what really made everything worse was what Jack discovered last weekend. He was helping me organize paperwork for my medical insurance claims when he found documents about an inheritance I received from my Uncle Robert 2 years ago. I need to explain about Uncle Robert because it makes this situation even more complicated. Uncle Robert was my mother's brother who never married or had children. He made a fortune in real estate during the 1990s housing boom. He was always close to our family and helped us financially when Maria was sick, paying for some experimental treatments that our insurance wouldn't cover. He passed away 2 years ago and left each of his nephews and nieces approximately $200,000. I never told my kids about this inheritance because I lost most of it in a bad investment. My younger brother Peter had been planning to open a chain of fitness centers in our state. He had experience managing gyms and presented a detailed business plan. The market analysis looked promising, and several other investors were already on board. I thought it could provide extra income for our family's future, so I invested $180,000 in the venture. 6 months later, the business failed completely. Peter had mismanaged everything and eventually declared bankruptcy. It turned out he had gambling problems and used some of the business funds to cover his debts. I lost all the investment money and hadn't spoken to Peter since then. I kept this failure secret from everyone, including my children, because I was ashamed of losing such a large amount of money. Jack found the inheritance paperwork along with the bankruptcy documents while sorting through my files. He immediately told Emily about it. This led to another phone call from Emily, but this time she was even more upset. She said I had no right to touch her trust fund when I had already wasted money that could have covered most of my treatment. She wanted to know what other financial secrets I was keeping from them. Emily posted about the situation on Facebook, explaining how I had hidden the inheritance loss and then taken her trust fund money without telling her. The post quickly spread through our extended family and friend circles. People started taking sides and leaving comments. Some defended my right to use the money to save my life, while others condemned me for betraying my daughter's trust. My sister Sarah, who was very close to Maria, came forward with more information that made everything worse. She told Emily about conversations she had with Maria during her final months. Maria had specifically discussed her hopes for the trust fund money. She wanted Emily to use it to start her own business, just like she had done with her jewelry store. Maria had noticed Emily's interest in technology and business from a young age and wanted to make sure her daughter had the same opportunity she had. This revelation about Maria's specific wishes for the money made Emily even more determined to take legal action. She said I had not only taken her money but had also gone against her mother's explicit plans for her future. More family members got involved after learning about these conversations. Maria's brothers offered to help Emily with her legal fees. My side of the family became divided, with some supporting my decision to use the money for life-saving treatment, while others criticized me for hiding the inheritance loss. The situation at home has become very tense. Jack still lives here while attending college, but he barely speaks to me now. He spends most of his time in his room or at his campus job. When we do talk, it's only about basic household matters. He told me he feels caught between his sister and me, but he understands Emily's anger because I broke their trust twice, first by hiding the inheritance loss and then by taking the trust fund money without discussing it. I've started my treatment, and the doctors say early results look promising. But my relationship with my children keeps getting worse. Emily has blocked me on all social media platforms and only communicates through her lawyer now. She even asked Jack not to tell me anything about her life or how she's doing. Some family members have suggested family counseling, but Emily refuses to participate. She says there's nothing to discuss until I return her money. Jack might be willing to try counseling, but he doesn't want to do it without his sister. I spend most of my time between hospital visits and trying to figure out how to fix this mess, but I honestly don't know if my relationship with my children can be repaired. Update 2: Things have taken several unexpected turns in the past few weeks. Emily's lawyer discovered something significant while reviewing the trust fund documents. The trust agreement had very specific terms about how the money could be used before Emily turned 25. As trustee, I was only allowed to use the money for Emily's education, medical care, or housing needs. Using it for my own medical treatment violated multiple terms of the trust. This discovery led Emily's lawyer to file additional legal motions. They're now pushing not only for the return of the money but also to have me removed as trustee of both Emily's and Jack's trust funds. Even though I haven't touched Jack's fund, they argue that my actions with Emily's money prove I can't be trusted to manage either account. During this process, Emily's lawyer also uncovered something else I hadn't told my children. 3 years ago, I had tried to use some of Jack's trust fund money to help Peter, my brother who lost my inheritance money, pay off his gambling debts. The bank flagged the transaction as suspicious and blocked it. I never told anyone about this failed attempt, but now it's being used as additional evidence of my mismanagement of the trust funds. A family meeting was arranged by my sister Sarah to discuss the situation. Maria's brother Tom attended and revealed something that changed everything. Maria had left a sealed letter with him, meant to be given to Emily on her 25th birthday. Tom decided to open it early because of the current situation. The letter was 8 pages long, detailing Maria's journey of building her jewelry business and her specific hopes for Emily. Maria wrote about watching Emily grow up with the same drive and determination she had. She included specific memories, like when 8-year-old Emily created a business plan for her lemonade stand, complete with cost analysis and profit projections. Maria explained that she structured the trust fund to give Emily the advantage she never had, starting capital for her own business. Tom gave Emily the letter, and she sent copies to several family members. After reading it, even relatives who had supported my decision changed their minds. The letter made it clear that Maria had specific plans for the money, and I had gone against her wishes. My parents, who initially defended my choice to use the money for treatment, now say I should have tried harder to find other options. The situation got even more complicated when Jack found a notebook in the attic while looking for old photos. It contained Maria's handwritten notes from when she was setting up the trust funds. She had written detailed instructions about how the money should be managed and used. There were specific notes about not using the funds for any family emergencies, as she had set up separate insurance policies for those situations. I didn't know about these insurance policies, but Tom confirmed their existence. Maria had apparently set up 3 different policies, one for medical emergencies, one for the house, and one for the kids' education. The medical policy expired 5 years after her death, and I hadn't renewed it because I didn't know about it. If I had maintained that policy, it would have covered most of my current medical expenses. This discovery led to more anger from Emily and disappointment from Jack. They both feel that I not only took their trust fund money but also let their mother's careful planning for our family's security go to waste. Emily's lawyer added this information to their case, arguing that my failure to maintain these policies showed a pattern of financial mismanagement. The court date is set for next month. My lawyer says the case doesn't look good for me. The trust terms were clear, and Maria's letter and notes provide strong evidence that I went against her explicit wishes. He suggested trying to reach a settlement with Emily, but she refuses to negotiate. She wants the full amount returned and me removed as trustee. I've started looking into selling my house and other assets to repay the trust fund, but even that won't cover the full amount plus legal fees. My treatment continues, and the doctors say it's working, but the personal cost keeps growing. Jack is now talking about moving out and getting an apartment with friends, saying he needs space to process everything. Update 3: The court case ended last month, and as expected, I lost completely. The judge ordered me to repay the full $250,000 plus interest to Emily's trust fund within 90 days. I was also removed as trustee for both Emily's and Jack's trust funds. Tom, Maria's brother, is now managing both accounts. The judge's decision included some harsh words about my actions. She pointed out that I had violated not only the legal terms of the trust but also my late wife's clearly stated wishes for our children's future. The judge mentioned Maria's letter and notes as evidence that I had knowingly gone against her plans for the money. The financial consequences have been severe. I had to sell my house, which thankfully had good equity due to the market. I also sold my car, most of my furniture, and Maria's remaining jewelry that I had kept for Emily. The house sale closed last week, and after paying off the mortgage and other debts, I had enough to repay the trust fund. I now rent a small apartment near the hospital where I receive treatment. The treatment has been successful, and my latest scans show the cancer is responding well. The doctors are optimistic about my chances of full recovery, but I'm not sure my relationship with my children will ever recover. Emily hasn't spoken to me directly since the court case ended. She sent a brief message through Tom after I repaid the trust fund. She wrote that while she's glad my treatment is working, she needs time and space to process everything. She said finding out about the expired insurance policies and my attempted use of Jack's trust fund money made it hard for her to trust anything I say. Jack moved out as he planned, sharing an apartment with college friends. He stops by my new apartment every few weeks, but our conversations remain superficial. Last week, he told me he found a photo album with pictures of Maria working in her jewelry store with young Emily. He said looking at those photos made him understand why Emily was so hurt by my actions. It wasn't just about the money, but about the connection to their mother. Some unexpected developments occurred after the court case. Peter, my brother who lost my inheritance money, contacted me for the first time in 2 years. He's been through gambling addiction treatment and wanted to make amends. He offered to help repay some of the money he lost, starting with small monthly payments. I told him to send the payments directly to Emily instead. Tom gave me copies of more letters Maria had written for the kids. There was one for Jack about using his trust fund for graduate school, and several for both kids about different life milestones. Reading them made me realize how thoroughly Maria had planned for our children's futures, and how completely I had disrupted those plans. Sarah still tries to help mend things between us, but Emily remains firm about keeping her distance. She told Sarah that while she might eventually forgive me for taking the money, she can't forget that I went against her mother's wishes and broke her trust multiple times. She's still working as a software engineer but has started doing freelance work on weekends to build up savings for her business plan. I survived cancer, but I lost my children's trust and respect in the process. I live alone now, surrounded by a few pieces of furniture in my small apartment, working to rebuild my life. Some days I wonder if I made the right choice. I'm alive, but at the cost of destroying what Maria worked so hard to build for our children's future.